All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me back on my channel. As you know, I'm Andrea Patrick, the BU Boss, and you're in the right place if you want to learn about how to be the CEO of you, honey. Put the BU in your life and your business so that you are always showing up as yourself, your best self, doing it and doing it good. Today on the show, I have Amanda Rush. Now, if you are unfamiliar, my podcast, the CEO Mindset Podcast, is where we started this conversation. It is phenomenal. I will make sure that it is linked in the description. But for now, I really wanted Amanda to talk to us a little bit about her business as a virtual assistant, but also what that entails and how we can establish those relationships that we need to deal with other people in the best way. Because when you're working with a virtual assistant, you got to be able to tell them what you need. So let's go ahead and dive in. Hello, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing so wonderful. We've been chatting for a little while before this recording, and it's been the best. So yay.
It is so much fun. Okay, so let's dive into this question. On your website, it says being a virtual assistant is more than helping someone manage their inbox. It's understanding your client and their business completely. It's being able to anticipate their needs, hit deadlines, and create content that converts for their audience. It's also becoming that person that is invaluable to them so much that they rave about you to all their friends. Now, all of this requires building a relationship, correct? Right?
Yes, 100%.
Right. All of this requires building a relationship with them that fosters trust and commitment. Basically, like we talked about on the podcast, a culture, right?
Yeah.
So what are 3 to 5 tips for establishing this type of relationship when you're dealing with other people? And I want to emphasize dealing with other people because being the CEO of you is not just about business. It can be about building a career. It can be about like being a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad. So how can we establish these types of relationships that, foster trust and commitment, in your opinion? So do you have some advice on that?
I do. Okay, so I think step 1 is really going to be setting up communication guidelines. And so we love to do this with our clients, but honestly, I do this like with my family and my husband too. And I think this is really important. How are you going to communicate? When are you going to communicate? And what does that communication look like? Is it an email, a text message, a calendar reminder, a shared, there's so many options out there. I think let's first establish how we're going to communicate. And then the second layer is going to be setting up clear boundaries. I think a lot of times, if you've ever been disappointed in life and business with your husband, it's probably because an expectation hasn't been met. But oftentimes that expectation was never communicated. And that's why people are disappointed, because you're like, well, I thought you were going to text me and tell me about blank, and you never did. And the other person's like, you never told me to text you. How was I I'm not a mind reader. And we forget that people aren't mind readers. So I need you to clearly communicate what is the boundary. And then the third thing is you need to follow through. So once you've done step 1 and step 2, you have to take action. Like you were talking about, this is a relationship. So it's a two-way street. Let's say it's a virtual assistant. Is your virtual assistant here to support you and be that right-hand person? Yes. But if you don't talk to them, how are they supposed to know? And if you don't communicate and hold the boundary, then what are they supposed to do with that?
Exactly. And that's true for if you're in an office setting. How does your admin know to provide you with the information you need to do your job if you don't communicate to them exactly what it is you need? Or how does your boss know that you want the promotion if you're not putting your hat in the ring to let them know and you're not communicating that? If you're at home, how does your spouse or your significant other know that you have issues with certain things that they do if you don't communicate that? Or if you have a need that they are not filling, you've not communicated that. Communication is key, but you do have to know what you need. I mean, really understanding you to begin with is going to be important,
Yeah.
And then like you said, it's a relationship. So it's a two-way street. Communication is key.
Yeah. And it's really just being clear and direct. And you can do that in a kind way. You
Absolutely.
don't have to be mean or nasty about it. But I think about even in my own relationship, I have a husband. And so sometimes I have to directly say this is what I want to do for our date night. I want to go to this restaurant and this is the food I want to eat. And I want to go see this movie. And that is not a bad thing. He's
No.
Right. And you know why he says that? Because he's not sitting here guessing what it is that I want to eat and where I want to go and what movie I want to see. Like, it's not his job to meet all of my needs, so to speak.
Exactly. That's true. That's absolutely right. And so knowing it and being able to communicate it is important for us to establish these types of relationships where we can foster trust and commitment in that relationship. And knowing what you need and being able to effectively and efficiently communicate those needs is key here. And I like to even take it a step further is we are teaching people how to treat us. And in teaching people how to treat us, we are also managing our expectations and we're managing their expectations so that we're all getting what we want. It's a mutually beneficial situation, which in turn, I think is another way to foster that trust and commitment. Yeah. Fantastic. Y'all, this has been the best conversation. I can't tell you enough about Miss Amanda. But all of her information is going to be down in the description. She also has an amazing podcast, which you can find over on my podcast, which is going to be linked down below because she was a guest on my podcast and a wealth of information. You're going to absolutely love it. So again, Amanda, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. We are going to be doing more things together. I promise you, I can't wait to get off this call because I've got a few things I want to chat with you about.
Okay, amazing.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you have not already, please hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And this whole series that we're doing is in a playlist. I will make sure that I will link that playlist as well because I have had some amazing women in this series and you're not going to want to miss any of them. All right, thanks again. All right,
thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.